In my last random bits, I opened up a lot of laptop batteries and found some medium quality cells, but also just some really interesting cells. Well, I've also been coming across these battery packs, and every time I come across these old ones from the late 1990s or the early 2000s, I keep getting just bad cells from them. They're all dead, and they're just kind of worthless. I felt bad for getting this last one. I'm just going to not buy them from now on, probably. But then I opened it up, and surprisingly enough, this one actually has some surviving cells. For instance, let's see if I can do this. 3 volts. 2 volts. 3 volts again. I think this cell's dead. Yeah, that one's dead. So these 3 cells are dead, but these other 9 cells are still good. And let's look at the date code. The first 3 digits mean something that I'm not really sure of. This digit, the H, means what year it was. And this means 1999. Because I think they started in 1991 as A, and 2008 is Q, so H would be 1999. I would be, well, that's the month, so A is January, so I is September, so this was made September 13th, 1999. And here's the brand of the cells. They are Sony Energetic STG US 18650GR. Sony kept making the US 18650GR series, but I haven't seen any newer ones labeled Sony Energetic. These are SF US 18650GRs, and the date code, I believe they've added some numbers on the later date codes over here, but this ending part still is roughly the same. That's M, so M would be 2003 or 2004. H would be August, so it's August 18th, 2004. But back to these batteries, they're a pretty interesting specimen from 1999, over 15 years old, and, well, just really interesting. Let's see how much capacity they have. And there we have access to all the connections. So I have the battery pack over here in my charging area. Let's turn on the power supply. Let's go to nickel cadmium. Let's go from nickel cadmium to lithium. And bring up the charge current to 2 amps. Damn. It's too low voltage. So let's go over to. It said it was 3 volts though, I thought. That's weird. Let's go to nickel cadmium. There we go. Let's charge it with nickel cadmium for a little bit until it gets a little bit higher voltage. Then we'll switch back to lithium and charge it. So now that it's been charging for a little bit, just a tiny bit, we'll go back and let lithium. Let it charge, because now the voltage should be high enough to where it tricks the internal settings, or the internal like voltage detection or whatever. So these 3 cells are done charging, and they've taken up a lot more capacity than the IMAX P6 counter is showing, because I forgot and left the setting on that stops at 3000 milliamp hours. So it stopped at 3000 milliamp hours, and I started it again. So now it's at 5176 plus that when you add that 3 amp hours that it took. So pretty much each cell took 1750 milliamp hours to charge. Now the big question is, was that symmetrical? Go to discharge and discharge at 1 amp, so I should be discharging it at 1/3 of an amp per cell. We're discharging until the voltage gets down to 3 volts. Because to be honest, when the voltage gets down to 3 volts over this somewhat resistive wire, I think this thing's kind of out of calibration or something like that. So basically, when this is reading 3 volts, this is actually like 3.15 volts. and then whenever it reaches there and stops, these bounce back up to like 3.6 or say 3.7 volts, depending on their internal resistance, of course. But yeah, I'm going to bring them down to 3 volts because that will actually pop them back up to 3.6 whenever I stop pulling power from them. Let's see how that goes. Oh, I almost forgot that I forgot to turn off the capacity cutoff. I took out 1020 milliamp hours, so we'll just add that to whatever result we get. So that test is done, and it's given me 4,700 milliamp hours of capacity, and oh, put on the lithium setting. I just realized that this knockoff IMAX B6, which it's arguable because I think pretty much every IMAX B6 is crap, but it's useful crap. But either way, this one, whenever they stole the programming code for it and put it on this cheap one over in China, they messed up the lithium polymer discharge to where it doesn't cut off when it reaches 3 volts. It just lowers the amperage, so it drains it to exactly 3 volts. Forgot it. For this, I usually go to the nickel cadmium and then go to 3 volts because that one, they got the programming code correct on that one. So I say, let's just say it had about 4,000 amp hours each, so it's about like 1,200 to 1,300 milliamp hours per cell, and that's pretty good actually. That's still like 3/5 or even 2/3 of the original capacity, because I think these originally had 1,800 milliamp hours of capacity. That's pretty cool for being 15 years old. I can do a better test later on to get a better number, but this is just showing that these cells are actually working. That's good enough for me. Well, if you guys happen to have any other cells that are even older and still working, I would love to hear about them. Hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. See ya!